Today, we're talking about how you can grow your own potatoes in containers. Now, this is actually a specific potato bag, and in the past, I have grown straight in the ground or in raised garden beds, although I find this to be much more desirable of a planting method. In one, it doesn't take up too much space, so it's really great if you don't have a large amount of space that you can even be growing potatoes in. And two, it makes it really easy. When your potatoes are ready to harvest, all you have to do is dump out the bag and sift through to find your potatoes, instead of just digging inside the ground and trying to find them, following lines and trying to get them, and months later finding out that you still had potatoes in there that you didn't even know about, because that has definitely happened to me. But we're gonna break it down, and there's definitely a few methods to do this. Now, you can go ahead and plant in a nice potato bag like I've done here. You can also go ahead and plant in a 5-gallon bucket like they have at any of your big box stores. So there's definitely a few different methods, and you can even plant in your own planters. I would just make sure that they're nice, lightweight, because that's gonna make it the easiest for you. Given the size of your container, this is gonna dictate how many you can actually put inside. So let's break it down and talk through the process. Now, for today, I actually have two different types of potatoes that I'm going to be planting. I have a sweet potato variety, and then I also have a nice Yukon type variety. When picking out the variety of potatoes that you want to be growing, there's a few things that you want to think about. First off, think about the color potato that you want. Potatoes can come in a lot of different colors, from the bright orange of a sweet potato, the white of a Yukon, to even a blue or purple color. And there are so many varieties available. So definitely think about what type of potatoes you want to be getting in regards to color. Then think about the texture of the potato. There are different types of potatoes for different types of cooking. You might want to have a specific potato for your French fries versus just regular eating or mashed. You're going to want to think about the starch level and the texture of your potato as you're thinking about the type of potato that you want. And lastly, think about what you want to be using it for, how you want to be eating it, and what type of potatoes you actually like to eat. We're not going to be growing potatoes that we don't like to eat, because what's the point of that? So think about what is the one that's the most popular in your kitchen, and sweet potatoes are definitely a top in our kitchen. So I knew that I wanted to actually grow them. To chit or not to chit? That is the age-old question. And honestly, you don't really have to chit. But what is chitting? Chitting is when you actually let your potatoes go to sprout, like this one here. So there are eyes on a potato, and through those eyes, they will start to grow sprouts. And this is what actually starts the growing process. So here is an eye that has not started to chit, and here's one that has started to chit. If you live in a colder climate with a shorter growing season, you might want to actually chit your potatoes, because this is just going to kick off the growing season and make sure that you get a good amount of potatoes in your shorter growing season. If you live in an area that has a long growing season, then you don't really have to worry about chitting. You could just go ahead and just put your potatoes straight in the ground. Now, when I bought these, they were actually starting to chit. I would make sure that if you do buy your seed potatoes, that they're not too leggy already. So these have small chits on them. My other ones don't even have a chit at all. You can see here, no chitting. And that's totally fine. I'm still gonna follow the same process here, so don't really worry about it. As I was talking, I said I bought seed potatoes. What is a seed potato, and why can't I just grow a grocery store potato that might have already started to chit because I left it in the pantry for too long? Now, grocery stores will oftentimes spray their potatoes with an agent so that they don't sprout or chit and they aren't growing greatly. If you do buy your potatoes organically, you're usually pretty fine to grow them, or you can grow seed potatoes, which you can get at any place you would get your seeds, any place you get any of your starters at. So you can really do organic or seed potatoes. You can try grocery store potatoes, but you're probably just not gonna get as high of a yields, if any yields, and it could just be a really fruitless effort. So I definitely suggest going the extra mile, getting organic or seed potatoes so that you're gonna have the best success. Now, a lot of times people will ask, can I cut my potatoes in half so that you can get double the yields? Now, if you do see that you have eyes on both halves of your potatoes, so right here I have a chitting eye, and then I also just have eyes on this side of my potato, which those eyes are just the little indents with something starting up there. This is basically where they're sprouting from. You can go ahead and cut your potato in half. Although you really don't want to do it with a smaller potato because again, you might not have as success. It just doesn't have as much to grow from. We usually say anything that's 2 grams or more, you can cut in half and grow it. If you want to be a real lazy gardener, you could just throw it into the bucket. And we're going to talk about how to actually grow them and what you need to do there. So really depending on what you want to do, if you do decide to cut them in half, all you do is just slice in half. You'll have your 2 halves. You'll plant it chit up, and you just want to make sure that you're letting your potato dry out a little bit, 1 to 2 days inside maybe, so that it doesn't start to mold in your bag and then you don't have any flour, you don't have any potatoes. Okay, so let's get to the fun part of actually doing our potatoes and getting them in the ground. I have some really great compost soil here. When you are planting potatoes, you don't actually have to go super high quality with your soil. You can actually just do straight in the ground. As you know, potatoes are a very good grower and can grow in a lot of different environments, and they're gonna find a way to grow. I mean, they literally grow in your cabinet, so you know they're gonna grow from the ground. Here I have my nice potato bag. What I like about these is they're really easy to store at the end of the season. You can just fold them up. They're not taking up a lot of room. And again, when I am done growing my potatoes, I'm ready to harvest them, I can just turn them over. What's also cool about this is it has a little viewing window here with Velcro. So I can also go in and view what's going on in the ground. Okay, close this up. Okay. So to start my potatoes, you may have seen in my example over here, which I've already started, I folded down the edges of them. What's really great about this is we can go ahead and hill our potatoes, which actually helps to continue the growth of our potatoes. And it's really great to do when you have any of your potato bags that are flexible. So I'm gonna go ahead and curl down my edges here, like so. And I'm gonna fill this with around 5 inches of dirt. I'm also gonna go ahead and take my 5-gallon bucket because I'm gonna show you what it looks like to also plant in one of these. I'm gonna do the same thing, fill around 5 inches of dirt on the bottom of this. Okay, let's get to planting here. So this is my bag. I've already started. I have a few in here that I planted last time I was out in the garden, but I did keep a few potatoes so that we could plant them together. So in my 5-gallon bucket is a lot smaller of a bucket. So I'm only gonna put around 1 potato in here. And I'm just gonna show you when you plant your potato in here, you wanna do the chit side up or an eye up. You'll go ahead, put it inside of your buckets. And then what we'll do is we'll just cover with the soil here. You can also go ahead, add some more soil on top. It doesn't need to be too deep into here because what we are going to be doing is hilling our potatoes. What does that mean? That means that we want to leave some room at the top of the bucket so that as it starts to grow in here, once we see some of the leaves coming out, we see it sprouting outside the bucket, then we're going to put some more soil on top, and we're gonna keep doing that until our leaves start to actually flower. And what this is gonna promote is just the additional growth of potatoes throughout the bucket so that you can just have a higher yield of potatoes. Now, once you've gone ahead and finished planting your bucket, we will make sure that we water it, and then we're gonna go ahead and put it in a nice sunny spot. Now let's talk about how to do it in the grow bag. So in this grow bag, it's a little bit bigger space than our actual bucket. So I'm just gonna make sure My dirt's nice and broken up. And then I'm gonna dig the holes where I want my potatoes to go in here. So I'll dig a little divot here for them. And then again, I can put around 2 to 3 in here. I'm gonna go the eye or the chit up so that it is encouraged to grow that way. Stick it in here. And then nicely cover it with the soil. If you need to add more soil, you can do so. Now, what's nice about these grow bags is the fact that you can actually turn down it, which just allows more sun to get inside as compared to the 5-gallon bucket. This isn't necessary, you don't fully need it, it just will help. And then next time when you do want to add more soil, all you'll do is fold up, fill in with more soil. You want to make sure to give them a nice watering and then plant them in a spot that is nice and sunny. And make sure that you're watering them regularly. You can also let Mother Nature water them and we'll heal them accordingly. Stay tuned because we are definitely going to be doing a follow-up on this. So definitely subscribe if you aren't already a part of this journey, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.